There are two amazing methods to gain combat experience that not many players are taking advantage of currently, and today I want to show you those two methods because to this day I still see so many players do sand grabs, ammonite grabs, nightmare zone, and after watching this video I want you to forget about all of these training methods and instead focus on what I'm about to show you next. Because not only can you gain massive combat experience up to 200k experience an hour, but you can even choose to go a different route and also gain GP doing these methods. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into the first method. Welcome to Soul Wars. This is gonna be your favorite place, I promise. The reason why I picked this first is because I spend so much time here on my Ironman accounts. And no, we're not gonna do public Soul Wars games because those are not really efficient. We're gonna use two accounts and boost ourselves. The second method I'm gonna show you later on in this video is solo method, so you don't need any extra accounts. But in that method, you do have to rely on random people to get the best experience. In here, you only have to rely on yourself. The other reason why Soul Wars is so good is because you can choose. Do I want to earn money or do I want to earn experience? Which again, both equally important things on Ironman. So let's get into how this method works. Firstly, like I mentioned, you need two accounts. One is the carry and the other is the one that will gain points. For the carry account, I just have my main with blowpipe because you will be killing a few monsters while you're here. But you don't need an expensive setup, just get the best gear you can afford. Melee and range both work really good here. I just picked blowpipe because it's like 2 million GP and it works perfectly here. The other account that will get points is just a regular melee setup on my newbie Ironman. You need to deal like 200 damage per game and the same principle applies here. Just get your best combat setup. Dragon Scimitar, magic shortbow, whatever you can afford and whatever combat stat is the best for your accounts. Because the more DPS you do, the faster the games go and the faster experience you gain as well. So firstly, get your two accounts ready and take them both to the East portal, which is the purple color. Make sure both of the accounts are in their own friend chat so you can challenge yourself. As soon as the game starts, use your main account to get a few potions to make things go faster and start running towards the Lost Souls. While that account is running, feel free to use your newbie account to stock up and capture the first graveyard right next to your base. In fact, you can actually one-click the graveyard if you're using RuneLight option to zoom out. Initially, this method was figured out by main accounts to hunt the Soul Wars pet, but over time people realized that it also works very well to gain experience on lower accounts. Because you do in fact get the best points per hour with this method. Once you have your newbie at the graveyard, we now only focus on the carry, that is killing souls. I'm using Salve Amulet EI because it gives 20% boost to my damage against the souls. And it's basically a free item to get. In fact, you can even get the amulet with the Soul Wars points if you want. The goal here is to kill 8 souls in total, giving you 32 fragments. It shouldn't take longer than 1 or 2 minutes to do this, and while you're killing souls, you can send your newbie account to middle to capture the altar, which also gives points. Once you have 32 soul fragments in your inventory, make it to the middle and let your newbie account kill your main character. At this point, I also used Dwarven Rock Cake to lower my hit points so the entire process goes much faster, and once the fragments are transferred over to my newbie Ironman, I wait until I have captured the middle part and use the fragments on the altar. Then you run to the boss, which now has really low stats, and you deal about 200 damage, give or take. After that, you can lead the game with your main account and that will automatically end the game. Congratulations, you earned about 20 seals in few minutes. Usually one game takes a little over 3 minutes, sometimes even up to 4 minutes depending on how fast you are. And that's the entire gist of it. It's that simple. Now, let's jump to the big boy experience gains. So in about 1 hour and 5 minutes, I managed to get 370 seals. Sorry for going a little overboard, I lost track of time, but let's spend all the points on experience and see how much we get. Okay, so I spent all my points and I gained 135,000 strength experience in about 1 hour, plus another 15 to 20k experience by just attacking the souls. So on average I gained like 150k experience with this newbie Ironman. For comparison, if I had done sand crabs or nightmare zone for an hour, I would at most gain 60-70,000 experience. So this is literally more than double the amount. The experience you get does scale based on your levels. So for example, I had level 86 strength, but let's say you had level 95 strength and you spent the same amount of points, you would get up to 170,000 experience an hour. And the best part is you can spend the exact same points to make money as well, and it's in fact one of the best money makers for mid-level Ironman accounts. You get so many alkaballs, so many runes and arrows that it's just definitely worth doing. Currently you can make up to 1 million GP an hour here, which is really good. Okay, let me show you the other method as well, which requires no extra accounts. Let's talk about why this minigame can give you over 200,000 experience an hour in the right conditions. A few months ago, Jagex updated the combat achievement tiers and rewards, and with that came secretly one of the best updates to this day. If you have completed the hard combat achievements, you can get up to 8 pest control points per game. Now, that may not seem a lot, but let me show you how crazy this actually gets. I'm not gonna go too hard into explaining pest control. There's a lot of amazing guides out there already explaining the details of this game, and I can't do this minigame justice in 60 seconds. But I will say this, what's really good about pest control is that you can train other skills as well, like fletching. Or if you're lazy like me, you can just watch a movie or your favorite TV series while playing, because at the end of the day you will gain experience depending on how much effort you put into this minigame. I actually am gonna actively keep attacking everything because it does add up over time, and you will see that later on as well. Other than that, it's just the same principle. Just bring the best gear you can afford. I would honestly recommend ranged gear because the NPCs do teleport around, but I am personally using melee and it works fine as well. Don't worry about the high-end gear I currently have, you don't need any of this. Just your normal dragon scimitar and magic shortbow just works fine. If you don't have hard combat achievements completed, having the medium achievements will do just fine as well. You will sacrifice about 10% of experience per hour, but it's still miles better than anything else, and getting medium combat achievements is super easy these days. It can be done in just few hours by hunting certain bosses. On average, the game lasts about 2 minutes. The fastest I had is 1 minute 48 seconds because the last portal opens up at 1:45 and then it takes another 3 or 4 seconds to kill that portal. And that does happen quite often, especially in the final boat where everyone is high level, but the average is around 2 minutes per game, which means you can get up to 240 points per hour here. Okay, let's jump to the good part, which is the experience and me spending all those points. Also, let me show you why this is very good. So the secret strat here is that if you have more points, you get 10% extra experience. Let me show you. So as you can see, if I trade in 100 points at a time, I get 10% experience boost. So if I trade my first 100 points in, there we go. We got almost 62,000 attack experience in 100 points. And honestly, it's that simple. Let me spend another 100 points and the experience just keeps flowing and flowing. So let's calculate everything together now and see where we land. Firstly, I got 60,000 experience by just actively killing monsters inside pest control. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but again, it does add up over time. Then I got another 145,000 experience by just spending the points in the shop. And that will give me in total 205,000 experience in one single hour. In fact, I didn't even fully take advantage of this. I think you can safely go up to 220, maybe 230 experience an hour. Now, there is a caveat in pest control. I am max combat on this account and this place does scale up with levels. Let's say you are level 85 attack. You will likely gain like 20,000 experience less than I did every hour. It is important to spend 100 points at a time to get the 10% experience boost. That's where the difference comes from. Also, having at least medium combat achievements completed is a must. Otherwise, you will lose another 20% of your hourly experience. But both of these are very easy requirements, and even though I used a pretty good melee setup, like I said, you don't really need any of this. Having magic shortbow, dragon scimitar, a few normal strength potions, just a casual setup is more than enough. Don't worry about gear too much. And the best part is, you don't need to use it on melee combat, it works perfectly for ranged and magic as well. I've even seen a lot of Ironmans come here to train prayer, so it entirely depends on how many points you can get per game, how many points you spend at once, how actively you really want to play during pest control. For example, I watched a TV series to fill in the time, so I would say pretty much the same thing I would do during sand crabs, and considering it's almost 3 times more experience per hour, I would say that's a pretty good deal. Oh, and just a little added benefit as well, you get about 40k GP per hour. It's nothing much, but it does add up again. Like let's say you have a 10-hour session, that's just free 400k GP, especially on Ironman. All things considered, getting 200k experience an hour is not that difficult to obtain here and very doable even for Ironman and accounts that have 85 stats in combat. I really do hope you enjoyed this quick guide, and if I ever see any of you at sand crabs again, I will report you to Jagex. But until then, I love you all very much and I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. Bye!